listening to the Fitch Files. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fitch Files. As you may have noticed, we took a little break from recording, but we are back and stronger than ever. I've been working on a ton of projects, working on my mind and my body and my health. I'm feeling a lot better overall, and the show must go on. So today we'll be speaking with Maria, who is an intuitive healer, is Fae, works with plants, helps people in all kinds of amazing ways. And honestly, it was a really great interview and discussion. We have a special co-host, Allison, because she makes it a lot funner, and it's nice to have, various perspectives on these kind of things. So I hope you guys enjoy. We talk about Fae, we talk about plant life, we talk about healing. It's a great episode. So enjoy.
Hey, thanks, Alex. Thanks, Allison. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Maria, and I am a bioregional herbalist and living in the Midwest of the United States. I am an intuitive healer as well as a biodynamic craniosacral therapist. And I'm Fae, and I think that's all I need to say, right?
Yeah.
That's all you got to say, exactly.
Okay.
So we were just talking a little bit before the call about the bioregional herbalist, and I thought that'd be really cool for you to share what that means.
Okay, yeah. There are all different kinds of herbalists, and they're all valid. All paths are valid, in my opinion. But for me, I am very connected to place. Place is very important to me. And when we are connected to place, then we are paying attention to what is growing around us, what is showing up for us. And as a bioregional herbalist, what that means is that I work primarily with and partner with the plants that show up and grow in my region. So I'm not importing plants from China or anywhere overseas. I try to limit the plants that I partner with to what grows around me and within the Midwest. I just think it's really important to work with the plants that show up for us, because those are the plants that we need. They're growing in the same environment that we're living in, so they understand the stress and the demands on our bodies better than
I love that.
any other plant. So they're dealing with it too, and if they're flourishing, then they can teach us how to flourish.
Wow.
Nice.
That is actually really fascinating.
Yeah, so you won't be working with anything like Blue Lotus, and you'll be working more like with something. Could you give us an example?
Plantain, dandelion, motherwort, St. John's wort. What else am I using? Stinging nettle.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of common weedy plants.
That's what we have around here as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Things that people are spraying with Roundup, I am collecting for healing.
That's awesome. And I've heard that. I just heard that you can eat things like dandelions. I've been seeing a lot of people around the country posting videos of them making things with dandelions, and I thought that's really cool. There's got to be some health benefits to that.
You can't even imagine. Every single part of the dandelion is edible. Every single part. And they all are medicinal in slightly different ways, but as an overall kind of a big picture for dandelion, think liver health and digestive health. So it's really unlimited. And a lot of people get really fancy and make syrups and baked goods, and that's all really fun. But if you were to just have a nice non-sprayed patch of dandelions in your yard, and you would go out every day and eat 1 or 2 leaves, you are going to impact your liver health exponentially. You're going to impact your digestive health exponentially just by introducing that little bit of bitter greens into your diet every single day. I've had people turn around intense sugar addictions just by eating 1 to 3 leaves of dandelion every day. It's just little simple acts of deep nourishment that let the body know that we hear it, that we're listening to it, that we're responding to it and its needs, and in a way that's not suppressive or dominating.
Right.
Wow. So a quick little side question I have is dandelions. We know that they're yellow, and I know you said liver and digestive health, and it made me think of the solar plexus chakra and what that governs in our body. Does that correlate the color of like whatever you're using or working with?
Sometimes, sometimes it does. Yeah. So that one of the things that we call the doctrine of signatures, where you can look at a plant and kind of get an idea by the way it looks, what it's going to be beneficial for in the body. And, yellow, like you said, solar plexus, but also yellow is the color of bile, and so that right there, tells us a lot.
Stinging nettle, then let's go on that one. Stinging nettle is green. Heart chakra, does it work on that?
I have to think about that for a little bit.
I'm throwing some hardballs here.
Yeah, I don't. So any plant that's thorny or prickly in any way is going to have some benefit to the heart.
Very cool.
Emotional, spiritual, physical. So I would probably say it's more so the prickles that would indicate that it kind of has an affinity for the heart more so than the color.
Okay.
But that being said, I've never specifically used stinging nettles for heart issues. I partner with stinging nettles primarily for nourishment and minerals because it is just so nutrient dense. So I just eat it and I dry it for tea and nourishing infusions, and that that benefits the entire body. It has so many minerals that we're deplete in because our soils are depleted. And the first one that comes to mind is just magnesium, and magnesium is extremely beneficial for the heart. So I think anytime we're deeply nourishing our bodies, we're going to be benefiting all of the organ systems, in a direct or indirect way. So.
Wow, that makes me just want to get out there and pick weeds and eat them.
Oh, yeah, you should. I encourage that.
I'm curious when it comes to the herbalism, are mushrooms included in that at all or no?
Mushrooms are starting to be more and more included in herbalism. They have been considered kind of a separate thing, and it is definitely a different skill set.
Right.
They identificate, but you can use similar keys and processes to identification, but I would say more so than with common weedy plants, knowing your identification on mushrooms is a lot more important.
Oh yeah.
I think there are more mushrooms that can probably hurt you than
right.
plants, although that's not necessarily true. I see people every day picking poison hemlock, Conium maculatum, and saying, oh, look, I have, Queen Anne's lace. I have wild carrot. I'm going to cook this. And you're like, please don't.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Please don't. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's look at some keys. Let's look at some identifying structures, because that will kill you.
Check it before you eat it.
Yeah. It's like, unfortunately, somebody else already tried to eat it and found out the hard way.
People just, and I love the enthusiasm. I love the enthusiasm. People wanting to get out there and forage, and pick things. But sometimes people get over enthusiastic. They pick the wrong thing and hurt themselves, or they pick too much and it gets wasted, or they're picking things that are, endangered. And they shouldn't be picking them because they find a huge stand in the wild. They're like, oh my gosh, there's so much. I'm going to pick a ton. Right. But just because there's local abundance doesn't mean regionally there's abundance.
Right.
And there are certain plants that just take years and years and years and years and years to grow and to propagate and to and to establish themselves. And they can be wiped out in 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And so it's really hard. So I love the enthusiasm with the foraging and eating wild foods, but I also am cautious.
Yeah, so research is important, and learning from a pro like you.
Yeah, finding somebody local to take you out into the field and show you what's good, what's not good, what's safe, what's not safe, and just teaching ethical harvesting practices, and that is not just, knowing how much is okay to take, but it's learning how to ask permission from the plants. It's learning how to, tune in to those plants, because they are sentient beings. And that kind of is a really good segue into our topic for today.
Yes.
Because the Fae do tend the plant life. And the Davic kingdom is, one of the closest interfaces that many of us have, that most of us have on a day-to-day basis, with the Fae, because they are tending to all of the plants that grow around us. And so we're interfacing with them every day, whether we realize it or not. And I think a lot of times people who are afraid of the Fae or think, ooh, the Fae is super, I don't know. It's probably because they're being kind of not being mindful and being maybe a little disrespectful when they're out and about in the world. And the Fae don't like that.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
So did your interest in like plants and things lead you to your interest in the Fae?
It was part of my awakening for sure. So when we moved to Southwest Michigan, I think it was like 2005, we got about 1.5 acres of land with our little house that we bought. And that was when I started really waking up to the plants. There was so much wild growing around me. And I think it was probably starting in 2009 that I started to really start hearing them, like literally hearing them. So I was having kind of an opening and awakening to, the clairaudience and the clairsentience. And I started like hearing the plants talking to me. Wow. And it was like a dual awakening, like the plants, because I was paying attention, the plants woke me up. The devas who tended the plants spoke to my blood and woke me up. They're like, you're here now, plant yourself here, and we're going to show you. We're going to show you who you are and why you are. And we're going to do this together. And then that's when I started my books, which I forgot to mention in my introduction of myself.
Go ahead.
You had me do the intro, so you wouldn't mess it up, and then I completely forgot to mention the fact that I wrote 4 books with the Davic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So the books that I wrote with the plants and with the devas, it's called EarthDeva Oracle, and it is a seasonal journey through your yard and garden with 13 plants per season. And how I wrote the book was I went out and I chose a plant to sit with, and I went deep into meditation. Because I'm not like a classically trained artist. And if you look at the books, you can tell that I'm not a classically trained artist. I had to dive deep to get this. I had to go into deep meditation and pretty much let them take over my body to get these, because I don't draw. It's just not my strength. I do a lot of things really, really, really well, and drawing is not one of them. So I went in deep meditation, sat with the plants, connected with them, connected with the Deva. And then I drew the Deva on how it appeared to me. And then they gave me a message for the world. And then I sat, and I, how to identify the plant, how to partner with the plant for food, for medicine, how the plant can help heal the earth. And then sometimes there's a craft or a recipe. But the most important part of the book, in my opinion, is the empty page right after each chapter, and that is for you to use the skills that I teach in the beginning of the book to go out, find that particular plant and sit with it, and communicate with it, draw it how the deva appeared to you, and get a personal message from the deva.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun.
I'd love to try that actually myself.
Yeah. So I have, one for each season, and we wrote that book together, and that process was really intense for me because I had to sit in deep meditation, a lot to write these 4 books, and but it was amazing, and it created it just woke up the spark in my blood, and it was a really powerful growth experience.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And let's talk about that deva then. What for our listeners, what exactly is a deva?
So a deva is a fae spirit, 4th dimensional. All of the fae exist in the 4th dimension, and the devas tend to like the plants, animals, the rocks, the crystal spirits. They exist in that 4th dimensional plane, and they're tenders.
Are they basically like elementals, or would an elemental be a different thing?
I think that elementals can be included in the Devic kingdom. Like the dryads for the in the trees, and the sylphs for the the sylphs in the water, and like
wind,
air,
wind itself, So I think that they can be included in the Devic kingdom. I think most fae can be included in the Devic kingdom, but I think it's subtly different, with the different levels, but they all are 4th dimensional beings, and that's why some can see them and some can't.
Right. Well, very cool. And you have a picture that you drew of one of them in your book?
I have a picture of every single plant that I worked with in the book.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That I drew.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And others. I was initially planning on making a deck, like an oracle deck.
Yeah.
And with the drawings and with the messages, and that was my original intention. And then it just kind of morphed into books, and I haven't even made the deck yet. So I have to get back to that. It's on my list.
Well, yeah, because I would totally use that.
Yeah, me too.
Sounds neat.
Yeah.
I'd like to know the plants here in my town a little bit more. I've been trying to learn. There's apps out there that kind of help you identify certain plants out there and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think they can be helpful, but I think the apps more often than not are problematic. So there's a group on Facebook. It's called Plant Identification, and it's run by botanists, and it's an amazing group of people that run that group, and you'll get some regular people in. It's a huge group, and so you'll get some some bad IDs, but for the most part you learn who to listen to in the group, and that's usually where I go before an app. I'll be out in the woods and be like, ooh, what's that? And I'll take a picture of it and I post it, and sometimes within 5 minutes someone will give me an ID.
Oh, I'm about to check that group out.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a great group. There's no chit chat on it. It's just identification. So there's no talking about like edibility or this or that about the plant. It's just like, it's just ID.
That's
so
awesome.
which makes it nice, because it's just business.
Just give me the info.
Yeah.
So I did have another sort of question here. When you hear about fae, normally you hear things from all over the place, and some people will say that they're mischievous or malevolent, and others will say no, totally work with them, but there's rules. What would you say to the people who say that they're malevolent or mischievous?
That you probably need to have better manners.
I would agree.
I think that I think that as humans, we're pretty unconscious and pretty rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're walking around and you're littering on the earth in all the different ways that we can litter as human beings, they're not going to like you very much.
Yeah.
Are there things you could do to get in the do something like an offering or something like that to make the Fae like you a little bit more, maybe?
Well, I think the biggest thing we can do is changing behavior.
Just respect.
Just respecting the earth and doing your own work, doing your own inner process, because they don't care about trinkets. And, my Fae, my family, my people that live with me here on this land, they love trinkets, and they love when I bring them a bowl of blueberries or a piece of cake. They love that because we have a relationship.
Right.
And they're able, and they know that it's not like, that I'm just being phony and giving them a piece of cake so they leave me alone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's just, it's different, and you can view the relationship like any relationship. If you go into someone's house and you trash it, they're not going to like you very much.
Right.
And the earth is their house. The earth is their home. They are here to tend and protect the earth. They are Gaia's beings. They are, a part of the earth as much as we are, but almost more. They're just energetically part of this earth. And when we disrespect the earth, we disrespect them.
Right.
And anyone that you disrespect's not going to be very nice to you.
That's true.
That's a good point. It's pretty simple too. Like, it sounds like, easy to understand it, but yet we go about our daily lives kind of like not thinking about that. I mean, most people don't think about that kind of stuff when they're walking around a forest and picking things up and messing with stuff, and they don't really take that into consideration.
Yeah, so a simple thing that anyone can do, short, if they're not willing to start processing their own emotions and picking up their emotional and spiritual litter. If you do go to the woods, bring a bag with you and pick up all the trash that everyone leaves. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that is one simple act. When you go to the beach, bring a bag, pick up all the trash. There's so much trash everywhere. And that's one tiny little thing. If you have a lawn or a yard, stop spraying chemicals on it.
Keep the daffodils and some of the weeds for the bees.
Yeah, it's like just little things that we can do to start, caring for the world around us, and and just having some basic respect. But I know that's hard for a lot of people, because a lot of people who aren't doing their inner work and not doing their inner process don't have any inner respect for themselves, and how they act in the world is a reflection of that.
Right.
I agree.
And so, I think, on a spiritual, energetic level, I do know that the Fae are here to tend the earth, to help, help the earth, but also as a part of the earth, we are a part of the earth. They're here for us as well. Right. And when we're willing to open to a deeper relationship within ourselves, then, we can open to a deeper relationship with the spiritual world around us.
Right.
And I think it needs to be said too that even when you aren't working with the Fae, as you go through a spiritual awakening and you start meditating more often, or having more awareness, naturally you start to care about the earth a little bit more without even realizing it, I think.
Absolutely.
It happened for me. I can remember a time back when I was young and stupid, and if I had like an inconvenient piece of trash, I would toss it, and I would give anything to go back to that me and say, don't do that. That is terrible. Yeah. And I pick up every piece of trash I see now. And that's just from meditating every day.
Yeah, it makes such a huge difference. You know, it just makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, and our earth needs all the help she can get right now. We all need to be working together to protect it. That's for sure.
We do.
I think a big problem is you know, you're never going to find any school that is going to teach this kind of stuff either. Like, hey, respect the damn land that you live, respect where you live, and the earth and the forest, and they don't teach you how to identify plants, and they don't teach you how to live among nature, with nature, and be nature. They teach you how to do things you're going to forget.
And if they do, it's like it's like usually during Earth Day week.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and it's like that one day they do a little lip service to it.
Right.
You know, and I think what's even more important than, you know, or in conjunction with that is, you know, teaching kids basic emotional self-care. Yes. And they don't get that. They don't get that anywhere. And that's like one of the things that I, in collection with my people, are working with right now, is developing just little short courses to be offered at the libraries and around town to help tweens and teens emerge from their schooling years with as much of their light intact as possible. So, you know, getting with them once a week and teaching them how, you know, the basics of meditation, how to process emotion, how to use EFT, emotional freedom techniques, or the tapping technique, teaching them how to journal, all the different ways that they can journal and art journal, you know, and just teaching them some basics of self-care and what it means to, you know, feel something inside and not have to act on it, like how to sit with uncomfortable feelings and emotions, and how to source your sense of self and your sense of worth internally instead of externally.
Yes, I would absolutely put my kids into a program like that. Like,
can we just clone you and just put you in our town too? Is that all right?
It's so important, and I'm having a hard time getting people to hire me for this. They're like, oh, that's a great idea, but it's like, you know, then they look at me and they're kind of afraid, you know.
Should I hire you?
I would. And if anyone's listening right now, you guys. Come on.
What she's doing is incredible stuff.
It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, awesome. It's definitely the next chapter, and it's a continuation of the books, because it's, in the end, it's all about teaching people at any age that their truth and their connection lies within themselves, their heart, soul, essence. And when we can connect with that within ourselves, we can ground that into the mother, into Gaia. Then we become aware and awake and just a part of this experience, instead of being separate from it, instead of being disconnected from it. And when we are able to do that, then our spirit and our soul and our energy is 100% in the game, and we just become better people.
I agree. Yes.
Wow. I love it. I really love that. I was getting chills throughout the whole time you were talking.
He showed me that the hair was standing up on his arms.
That's why I was a little quiet as you're talking.
No, we were just
I love that.
Feeling it. If someone is unsure of where to begin in working with the Fae, what would you suggest they do?
Where would be a good place to start? My books would be a good place to start. But beyond just shamelessly plugging my books,
hey, feel free.
I would say just start sitting outside.
Yeah.
Just
be with nature.
Just be with nature. Right. Just be with nature, sitting outside and just cultivating a stillness and an awareness of what's around you, and opening your senses to the possibilities, that there's life all around you that you can't see.
Yeah.
And, connecting with the earth, just doing grounding meditations and connecting your energy down into the earth.
Grow your roots.
Grow your roots, I think that's a really straightforward and powerful place to start.
Yeah, I feel that. I do that. I do the roots growing every day. And I can tell after every meditation, I feel so great.
Yeah.
That's how I feel when I work in my yard. I just kind of just take it all in and soak it up. And when I water my plants, I just feel like I'm helping them get a drink, and I feel like we're connecting. And I look at all the bugs and the butterflies and the bees, and they're all this makes me feel at peace, seeing everything just working together and trying to help them out, give them some water, give the bees some water. And
I love the bees. I've been sitting with bees lately, and I think it's really cool because you get to watch them work, and you feel like a sense of, I don't know, community.
Yeah.
And it just feels really good to sit with the bees.
I
know I sound like a crazy person right now.
No, not at all. Not to me. I sit with plants and talk to them. You can't go crazy me with your bees. I love it when I watch when there's like a ton of flowers blooming and the bees are going from plant to plant, and I love seeing their little fat pollen covered bottoms and legs. They're just like, it's just so great. They're so cute.
Yeah.
I love them. I know. I always have to give them all names.
Yeah.
Now, do fae ever appear as insects at all? I know sometimes I heard they could appear as animals, but I wasn't sure if that was true or not.
I think they definitely can appear however they want to appear. So that's why when people go through my books and they actually go through the process, everyone's images of the devas that tend the plants will be different because they are energetic beings. And I think sometimes what they do is they appear to you how you think they're going to look. And they do that. I think that's a benevolent offering when they appear in a form that is comfortable for you or feels safe or feels kind of endearing because they don't want you to be afraid. So
to you, do they appear like more humanoid or more
definitely more
really?
human. Yeah, definitely more humanoid for me. And as a fae being, walking this earth in human form, my family, they're my family. They all look humanoid, So I think my experience, is probably colored by how I remember everyone looking before I came down to 3D.
Right.
So everyone's experience is going to be unique.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I really try and convey to people. It's like, you can look at the image that I drew, but don't get hung up on that because they're going to appear to you, if you have fae blood, if you have fae energy, they're going to appear how you remember them in your blood. And if you don't, then they could just appear as like points of light or energy or, wisps, I mean, it could really
see that
be
a lot.
anything. It could be anything.
So how did you discover or did you remember somehow that you are fae?
It was a very intense remembering.
Wow.
It was a very intense remembering. Yeah. It was probably about 2012, 11, 12, I think. I had just a massive awakening and ended up writing a novel with my bonded partner who is still in 4D.
Oh, wow.
And so he came through me and we wrote a novel together that I haven't shared with anyone. It's kind of our personal story. Yeah, it's kind of our personal story. It's kind of like, there's times when I kind of want to share it, and other times I'm like, maybe not.
It's special. Yeah, it's special.
And he helped me remember. And he helped me remember who I was and who we were, and the work that we're here to do. And so, yeah, it was a remembering for
Very
sure.
Cool.
How long ago, like, what did it all like come to you like that?
It was, it kind of started with the plants, right? That was kind of like my gentle awakening in like 2009 and 10. And then it was probably 2011, 2012, where, I had this really super, super intense dream, like one of those dreams where you wake up and you're like, holy shit, that was real. That was not a dream. That was real. And you have that feeling in your body, like visceral, like, oh my gosh, this happened. And it was one tiny little scene where I was standing with him, and he said to me, what were his words? It was like, see the truth that you very well know that I can't tell you. And he touched my forehead, and everything flew back into my consciousness.
Wow.
And my life has not been the same since.
That's wild.
That's amazing.
And then from there, it was like I'm like, I have to write this, and I sat down and I probably wrote, I want to say 2 full notebooks before he even got to that point in the story. And then another 3 or 4 notebooks after that.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And now we're still writing the story. So, anyway, go ahead.
Oh, after you discovered, or you remembered, I should say, were you able to look back at any signs?
Oh my gosh!
Before that, maybe like little tips.
Oh my gosh! I mean, yeah, everything made sense after I remembered. Like my whole life made sense. Like when I was little, I kept hearing someone calling my name. I had, all of these, kind of psychic, instances. I remembered as a small child going to 4D, going home through the portal in my bedroom closet. I remembered all of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, my whole childhood, when things got rough, I would retreat to, I had this big it was like a attic walk-in closet, and I would retreat into there, and that's when I would travel. And I stopped being able to do that at some point. And I still can't do it now, which is really, really annoying. But that's not for lack of trying. The portals are spelled. And so there isn't travel allowed anymore. And so it's challenging. It's challenging.
Why are they spelled now?
Well, do you know how our government is kind of fucked?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, 4D is not that much different. 4D is dealing with a lot of the same shit that we're dealing with our government, and with the bullshit that they're pulling on us and with us, the darkness. A lot of this, it's a reflection. The same thing's happening there.
As above, so below type.
Exactly. It's like once you pass through that veil of 5D, evil comes into the picture, and that's kind of what we deal with in 4 and 3D. And so that's another reason I think why the Fae have started waking up so many people who have decided to incarnate down in 3D, because we're supposed to work together to create a new world, a new earth, a place that honors everyone, and not just the rich elite assholes that want to, destroy the earth, and, who are more concerned about, trying to find a colony on Mars than they are about, taking care of what we have here. And, it's like, I'm of the opinion that they can go to Mars.
Yeah, right.
Go to Mars and leave us our beautiful Earth, and and we'll take care of it. It's good. We don't need you.
I'm down with that plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Send them all to Mars.
Send them all to Mars. Close the atmosphere.
Right.
If the Fae are waking up people who are also Fae, are there any things that those people should be looking for, any signs or something they should be open to?
Might be different for everyone, probably, huh?
I think it is different for everyone, but I think that, I think you just know.
Mm-hmm.
If all of a sudden, I've had like, a lot of people kind of like starting to reach out to me and be like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And like, yeah, come sit with me, and I was like, come sit with me, and we can talk about it,
Right.
And, so if, the people, so many people who are like awakening just to herbalism, and waking up to, something as small and simple as that. I'm not saying they're all Fae, but
right.
I think that is always a good indication. I think a lot of the kids who, are coming in now, especially, the Gen Zers, who are very much not willing to let themselves be put in any kind of societal box, especially when it comes to gender. And they're all like, I am who I am. And it's just like, the Fae are non-binary. And they just are. They're everything. They can take whatever form. And so when, beings start waking up down here, and you're like, oh, my predominant energy is masculine, but I'm in a female body, and that's weird. I don't know what to do with that. And in our society, being what it is, tries to figure it out in a scientific way, when I think personally it's more of a spiritual, energetic piece for a lot of people, not everyone, obviously.
Right.
And so, I love these kids that are all kind of being very, very strong-willed in who they are, and I think it just gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah, I think they're the ones that are going to change the world.
Honestly. They are, and that's one of the reasons why I want to support them as much as I can with with my teaching, with my healing, with everything. I want them to know that myself, my family, my personal, my family, and we are holding that container for them to create and to expunge the darkness as much as possible from this world. And the evil. I don't want to correlate evil with darkness, because darkness is just it's okay. Darkness is okay.
Shadow
Evil
work
is
stuff.
not. Yeah, darkness is good. Evil's not.
Right. To backtrack a little bit before I forget my question, are you ever able to like see someone and be like, oh, that person's Fae for sure? Like, do you sense other Fae in people? Certain people, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And is it an energetic thing or a physical thing that you can see?
It's sometimes both. It's usually a feeling, like I can feel it in my blood, like the blood speaks to the blood. And they don't always know, I mean, a lot of times they don't know, honestly. If I'm being honest, a lot of times they don't know. And that's okay. If they come to me to sit, and if they're open to it, I will tell them that I feel that. But what's most important to me is that I help them to reconnect with their own personal heart soul essence, because then whatever needs to unfold for them, whatever needs to be revealed for them, their soul will do that revealing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And
so,
yeah.
From what you can tell, do you have any feelings about Alex or I?
You know, I'm not. I think I do have to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. All right.
You know, I think I do.
I'll shoot you a picture of her.
Okay.
I'm asking because I've been called like elf all my life. My ears are a little bit pointy.
Yeah.
I'm short, tiny. I love nature and animals more.
Yeah.
More so.
I mean, I would say probably. You know, and if you're even, and if the most important thing is like, what do you feel? Do you feel like you're Fae?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's embarrassing, but yeah, I do, because I want to go out to the forest and live in a cabin and just grow my own plants. And
I just got chills all up and down my body. So yes, welcome home.
I'm getting it throughout this whole
welcome
call.
Home, sister.
Cool.
Yeah.
You definitely inspired me to get more into herbalism, because that's something I've been wanting to do for a while now, and I think you just gave me the kick that I needed to learn more about that. And
yeah, I want to get those books for sure.
We like using herbs for some magical things. But it'd be nice to connect with the herbs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we never tried to do that.
There's no more potent magic than sitting with a plant. You don't even have to eat it or make medicine with it. Just sitting with the plants and listening and connecting to them is the most profound magic. And you can receive healing from that plant just sitting with it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I know that it's also a thing to talk to plants, right? And say good things to them, because it helps them as well. So it can be a mutual sort of relationship.
Talking with the plant and listening to the plant, because I think one of the most important things in any kind of relationship is our ability to listen and to hold that container for that communication.
Very cool. Well, now we have to get our own herb box and start growing our own herbs. And
I'm wanting to grow some herbs on the patio, actually.
Yeah, we need to do that. We're not really surrounded by plants because honestly, we have a hard time taking care of them. But we've got animals everywhere.
Yeah, you'd laugh. You'd laugh at my inside of my house. I'm like, all my house plants. I kill every house plant pretty much that I have. It's just like, how is that even possible? It's just like, it's kind
of. The only things that I can't kill are like succulents that I had for my grandmas that passed away. I've had those for like 10 years now. I just keep replanting them. And then I got like an aloe vera that just never dies too. And then the plants that I try to cut down, because I say sorry, but unfortunately they grow into the house, so I have to cut them down sometimes.
Yeah.
But they'll grow back even more fierce and even stronger. Like I cut down some basil, and I thought it was gone forever, and the basil grew back even more fierce than ever, and that was just massive.
And you see, those of us in the Midwest are so envious of the California's ability to grow basil as a perennial and rosemary and it's like we have like a 3-month window where we can grow those plants.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we have a giant rosemary bush outside our apartment complex. I think they spray it though, so I don't use it.
Yeah,
I know.
That's too bad. But you could sit with it.
Yeah.
You could sit with it, and you could, give it energy. Do energy healing with it, is to help it to, withstand the chemicals and, help it feel better. So I mean, you still can receive healing from it. I just wouldn't eat it.
Yeah, no. And I'm going to have to do some inner work on myself on trying to get over the embarrassment of sitting out on the apartment.
I know. I remember
talking to the tree?
I remember one time when I was working with, what plant was it? It was New England aster. She's an amazing, amazing plant. Really powerful ally for myself and my daughter. And she grows, I don't have any in my yard. She likes wet feet. So she grows like in ditches and, waterways and stuff like that. And I was out looking for her one day because I wanted to include her in my fall book because she blooms in the fall. And I found a stand over by some railroad tracks and it was like, these buildings look abandoned, but they're warehouses and people work in there. I don't know what they do. And there's like this little small ditch, and there's a ton of New England aster, right? And it's covered in monarch butterflies because they love it. It's like one of their last fuel sources, that and the goldenrod, before they migrate. And so I'm just sitting there, and it's raining, and I've got a hood over my head. I've got an umbrella, and I'm sitting there with my notebook in deep, deep, deep trance, drawing and talking to and communing with these plants. And all of a sudden I hear this truck pull up behind me, and then it stops, and I'm like, and I turned my head and I looked, and the guys were looking at me, and they're like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" Yeah, I'm just drawing the plant, and they're like, oh, okay. They just kind of slowly pulled away, and it's like, whatever.
Okay, more than okay, actually. I'm great.
Yeah, I'm great. It's like, just pulled me out of a really deep trance. I don't appreciate it.
We're gonna need like T-shirts or something that says on the front and the back, "We are communing with the plants. Please do not disturb."
Yeah.
Yes, please do not. That's a great idea. I think I'll make those. I've been starting to make T-shirts with the devas on them, and then little sayings, and I'm just kind of starting to play with that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, how cool! And are you gonna sell those?
Yeah, I'll sell them somewhere. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll buy one for sure. Okay. That sounds neat.
Yeah.
We'll get matching ones.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you a question that wasn't Faye related. You mentioned earlier that you were a biodynamic craniosacral therapist, and I was a little curious what that meant, because I have no idea.
Oh, craniosacral therapy is my love. So how can I describe this? It's kind of out there, but it's really not. It's an osteopathic technique that works with the pulsation of the cerebral spinal fluid and how it flows through the body, around the brain and the spinal cord.
Wow.
And it is a very deep, deep, deep listening technique. You listen with your hands, and you follow the movement of the cerebral spinal fluid, and it has different pulsations. So it has a really quick, I think, I can't even remember what it's called right now. It's escaping me, but it's really fast. And that's kind of like, when you feel that, it's kind of like the static of life. It's like people's stress, right? And then it drops down to a slower level called the mid-tide. And the mid-tide, kind of shows us more, some, patterns of trauma in life, and our bodies remember everything. Every single thing that's ever happened to us in our lives, our cells remember. Wow. And there are things that were traumatic, and those are, our body in its innate wisdom will grab onto those memories and put them like in an energetic time capsule, like an energetic bubble, to keep us safe from them. And we have so many of those energetic time capsules in our etheric, in our bodies, that we expend energy on every single day maintaining them. Wow. And when we sit in the cranial space, what cranial work facilitates is it facilitates our innate intelligence in our body to take one of those time capsules and open it up, remember, process, release, restore. And so we get that energy back. And so many of us have, just like things that happened when we were little, like we fell off our bike and skinned our knee and there was no one there to help us and it overwhelmed us. But, as an adult, that's not going to overwhelm us.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're still holding on to that. So it can be something as simple as that, and, and all the way along the spectrum of trauma that we hold in our body. And
so it's safe to say that your therapy sessions probably get very emotional.
They can get very emotional. they can also be so freeing and just joyful. I've had people tell me that they felt so profoundly relaxed that they didn't even know that it was possible to feel that level of well-being. Wow. It's just amazing. So you go from the mid-tide then down to the long tide. The long tide is a really deep, 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 deep energy. And then there is the groundswell, which is incarnation energy. And so with the biodynamic model, it's a fluid model. It goes deep. It goes deeper than some of the other models of craniosacral therapy that deal primarily with the superficial levels, what's being held in the bones, in the tissues, in the ligaments, to, going down and like, I, see people's birth all the time. Wow. So, I'll hold it and it'll still be stuck in their cranium, their whole birth, in their C1 and C2, in their spine and in their cranium. It'll, and then reflexively it'll go down to their sacrum and it'll be stuck and it's causing all of these physical problems, and so we sit with that and we allow the innate intelligence of the body to process that and release it. We connect with the heart soul, that person's heart soul essence, and we go back to their birth and we have them find their little newborn self and pick them up and hold them to their energy field to help their newborn nervous system co-regulate so that they can throw off the shock of their birth and so they're not carrying that with them every single day. Wow. And the energy that frees up in your system for you to live your life is astonishing.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
That's the first time I've ever heard of that. Is that
it is?
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
And honestly, not everybody works the way that I do.
Right. Everyone's different with
the way that I work is, I go deep, and but I go deep with respect and with deep listening. And so, I don't force people. I don't just because I see this doesn't mean they're ready to work with that, Yeah. And I'm always listening to their innate intelligence, their heart soul essence to guide the session in their highest and greatest good at all times. And so, whatever they're ready for, that's what they work with. And I'm just really holding as big of a safe container as they need.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, as a healer, not to get too personal, but I'm curious because I seem to see this pattern with healers. Did you ever overcome like an illness or something in earlier on in your life that you had to overcome something traumatic or something like that?
Yeah, there was a lot of trauma in my life growing up. I had an abusive older sister. I had some sexual abuse when I was little. A lot of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then that, manifested in my, teen years and my 20s as being just, profoundly depressed and suicidal, because what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just also overwhelming and I was so angry and I had no idea why. And I remember one moment, I think I was living in Chicago at the time, and I just was having a really, really good day. And I must have corresponded in my cycle somewhere because I know that, when I was still ovulating, I would have these great days and then I would just crash. Yay, hormones.
And I feel
that. And I was feeling so good. And it just dawned on me. I just had this moment of awareness, another awakening, if you will, of you can feel like this more. You deserve to feel like this more. And it had never occurred to me that that was even possible or that I was worth it, to feel that I was worthy, to feel good, to be happy, that I deserved that. Right. And that's that at that moment, that's when I decided to start therapy. And I was in therapy for about a year, and then the flashbacks started. And the PTSD, and I probably I went through that for probably 2 years of really intense remembering of repressed things from my childhood. And then I went to massage therapy school, and that released a lot more. And then I found a new therapist who worked with cranial work and Hakomi, which is a body-centered psychotherapy. And I was with her for 7 years. And then during that time, I put myself through the 3-year foundational course in biodynamic craniosacral therapy. And that, that released a lot as well. So I attribute the therapy and the cranial work that I received in those years to helping me to process through and release a ton of that stored trauma in my system. It was foundational.
Sense. Yeah, that makes sense too, that you would come out a healer. I think the best healers are the ones who have obviously faced a lot of trauma and come out on the better side of it, faced it.
Yeah. I call them the wounded healer a lot of times. And shamanism deals with that a lot too, which is what I tend to gravitate towards. My childhood was also traumatic a little bit too at some points. And Allison had stuff in her life that was traumatic for her. And a lot of people that I know that kind of had to go through these interesting, like, horrific traumas usually end up either being healers or trying to help people in some way. It helps them to help others too.
It does.
I love that.
And I remember a point in my therapy when I was remembering the sexual abuse, and I was sitting with my therapist, and I said to her, but I know exactly why this happened, because I'm supposed to help people, process through, sexual abuse and trauma, and I'm supposed to do this. And she's like, okay. But she's like, I think we're skipping a few steps here. Can we back up a little bit? Because I think little Maria needs a little attention. I was like, a lot of attention for a while. Let's one step at a time,
Right.
Yeah. And she was right, and I see that in a lot of people. It's like, you're immediately like, oh my gosh, I remember this, and I immediately want to help people who have been through this. And that's great. And that's a great goal. But it's
easier to jump to helping people before fixing yourself.
It is, because it's a bypass. It keeps you from having to feel all of that horrendous shit. Yeah. But the only way to get to the other side is through.
Going through yourself.
You have to. You have to.
I discovered too that when I was doing Reiki, I would work on somebody else, and if they had a similar, if they were having me work on them for something that I had also been through that I hadn't fully processed yet, that was going to trigger something within me. I didn't have the ability to cut off the emotional ties from it, and so it really is important, if you do want to be a healer, to work through your stuff.
Absolutely.
You have to, and that's happened to me as well.
Me too.
Where I'll be sitting with someone and all of a sudden I'll be dissociated. I'll be like, oh wait, let's come back, and I know that they're dissociating, and my system is like, ooh, we're doing this now. I know how to do this. I love checking out. Let's go. And I'm like, nope, okay, I have to reground myself, and then I have to. And then I have to, check in with them and kind of help recalibrate them. So I mean that and I think that's one of the things with my cranial training that was so important, and why I loved my personal training as much as I do, is that it was 3 years for one, not a weekend, and they required us to receive a lot, and I was already receiving a lot, but then we were required to receive the work on a continuous basis, because you cannot hold a container for someone if you are, if you can't even hold a container for yourself, you can't hold a container for someone else. Right. At least not a clean or clear container, and the possibility of re-injuring someone, of wounding someone, hurting yourself is just exponentially greater when you're not doing your own work.
Yeah. And it's always hard to take that step into, helping yourself, working through it. The hardest part is just facing it.
Yeah.
And I know it from being through it. Like when you are actively working on yourself and trying to work through the traumas that you've experienced, it's the scariest part because you don't know, what your mind is going to say to you, what lies, your brain is going to feed you when you're feeling those different emotions. And, but it has always proven true that once you come out on the other side, you are just so much better for it.
Yeah,
so I would have all of our listeners know that right now. If you're going through it, it gets better. It really does.
Yeah, it does. It gets so much better.
That's why they say this too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
It's true.
The good and the bad.
Yeah.
So appreciate the good because it doesn't last forever.
Yeah, that passes too. Everything's a cycle.
Exactly.
And
so you are also an intuitive healer as well?
Yeah, and that goes hand in hand with the cranial work, but it's not everyone who does cranial work is clairsentient or clairaudient. So I think it just kind of takes my cranial work to a different level. There are times when people's departed loved ones will come into session and speak through me. So, and share things, with the person on the table, things maybe that they didn't get to say before they died. So, that, there's that aspect of the cranial work. And then there's, just the other piece where I just sit. I just sit with people and I do really deep. They're almost, like shamanic journeys, but I don't consider myself a shaman. But, as Fae, we do follow the river of blood. We do go into the earth and journey. And I take people on guided journeys to find their parts, to find the aspects of themselves that are maybe screaming the loudest, that need attention, that need nurturing, that need reparenting. But the primary journey is always reconnection with the heart soul essence and reconnection with the earth, because that is the foundation. I sit with people, virtually and in person, and I connect, with them, their heart soul essence. I can connect with them physically through, virtual format as well, which is something new that I've just discovered that I can do. It was kind of trippy. They're like, how can I feel your hands on my head right now? And I'm like, I don't know.
That's awesome.
It's cool, but I don't know how I'm doing it.
We love that stuff.
So I wanted to back up for just a second, because you said that you follow the river of blood. What is that?
The river of blood is just the Fae bloodline. It's just any kind of energetic path that you follow when you do journey work. And I find that it's important to have a path to be grounded into when you're doing journey work, so that you don't stray, you don't get lost. You always have a way of finding your way back. And for me, going down through the earth and following, the energy and the spark in my blood and letting that guide me is what keeps me on track, and it keeps me focused on, the true path, and not get distracted by shiny things that show up.
There are many shiny things out there.
Yeah,
I want them all.
Yes, I first learned about the river of blood from Orion Foxwood. I haven't studied with him, but just read his books, and he is a Fae priest, and his work is pretty cool.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, we are gonna have to look into that. That sounds neat, because when I was working with a being I was pretty sure was Fae, I would try to search up online and things for information, and you get just such
It's so random.
Varying.
It's
yeah.
So random.
You can't get a straight answer on anything.
Can't.
And then they tell you at the end, it's like they're all different too. So whatever we tell you as the answer, it's going to change depending on where you are, which season it is.
I searched when I first started having my awakening. I searched online for so many years, and finally just realized that I needed to go within. That's where the answers were. The answers aren't outside of you. The answers are inside. Yes. And the answers are in your blood. The answers are in your soul, your heart, soul essence. That's where your answers are. And I think we need to get to a place where we are okay listening to our inner authority and trusting that the information that we are getting from our soul is valid, and and that it's real. And that it, is more real than what we're programmed to believe.
Yeah. You're damn right.
Yeah.
I love it. You're on totally like the same wavelength as us, all this kind of stuff. I love it. It's so cool to talk to people that believe the same
it is.
Things like this.
It's fun.
Sometimes, social media, you feel like you're just shouting into the void, and
I shout into the void a lot, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes you feel connected sometimes, but also makes you feel disconnected at the same time.
Yeah.
In a weird way,
Yeah. I'm slowly opening my Facebook up a little bit and having certain posts be public, because I'm just trying to find more people, find my people more. And I can't do that if I have it closed down to just the current friends that I have and friends of friends. And so I'm a little nervous about that, because when you open it up to public, you open it up to all kinds of craziness.
I don't know about that.
And isn't it funny? I'm sitting here talking about all this, and I'm like, y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you open yourself up to meanness more than anything, and the trolls and I've just had to get to a place where I was like, it's okay. The trolls will come, the mean people will come, the people who make fun of me will come, and it's okay, because they're just not my people. And once I know that they're not my people, then I can just block them and make them go away.
Yes.
And it's okay, and I can't keep hiding, because we're at a critical point in life right now. Things are changing rapidly, and we can't hide anymore.
Exactly.
I agree.
We cannot. It is just imperative that we speak our truth to as many people as will listen.
Agreed.
And I was talking to Alex about the possibility of on his website for the Fitch Files opening up a forum so that we can escape Facebook, because a lot of people just have like friends and family on there, and they're afraid to talk about what they're into because they're the black sheep like me. And it would be really cool if there was a forum for all of us who are into things that are very different from normal, mainstream. I guess normal would not be the word, because I think weird is the new normal.
Yes, but, I love that.
Yes, we need a forum with sub-forums and places for groups like, people who are interested in the Fae. You can all come into this little sub-forum and hang out and just appreciate each other and share knowledge. And I just think
not be judged and deal with trolls and bullshit thrown out your way.
Yeah.
Not to say that I always agree with everyone should be in an echo chamber where everyone agrees with you all the time, but I do think that if you're going to be hateful and negative and not offer anything of substance and just be, you can tell who's being, helpful and who's being this to be a dick on purpose,
Yeah.
So we try to keep that to a bare minimum,
Yeah.
But we've been tossing around the idea of having a forum because Facebook's, I don't know, it's kind of, I've been doing the like open social media thing for a long time, and I can see it's kind of, Facebook's not going to be probably around much longer, honestly, with how it's going, and everyone's kind of leaving it, and it's
becoming, it's just like, it's all ads,
it's pay to win type thing. You got to pay for your own followers to see your stuff now. It's like it's getting too much.
It is, and it's unfortunate because
It was great.
I've met some amazing people on Facebook that I would have never met, like the two of you.
Yeah,
I would have never met the two of you otherwise, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We live across the country.
Exactly.
And that's really the only reason,
There's not enough alternatives for people to get together, and that isn't Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And we're very limited to how we can communicate and who controls what we say and who watches our shit and everything. It's just we're trying to figure out alternatives to it, just in case Facebook goes down or they take my profile down or something. You know what I mean? Like take away all my friends. Like I've had friends who get their account hijacked and they lose all their friends and everything.
That's hard. I know. Some of my smaller groups that I joined when my daughter was still young, there were my mom groups that who were all into peaceful parenting. And we have a PDF file with all of our contact information on it in case Facebook goes down, so we don't lose touch with one another. And I think that's important because I wouldn't want to lose those women. They've been so foundational in my life, and they don't all they're not all on the same page with me 100%, but but they are they're open-minded, which I think is the most important.
Yeah,
I agree.
And some people that have been following me since I was like 14, and I'm almost 34 now, and they've been part of my journey and watching me grow and watching my art journey, and watching all my ups and downs. That this is, we grow a community and a tribe of people that I've become very close with and are, consider family and friends. And it's just, just knowing that Facebook can just easily take that away and never help you to get it back. It kind of worries me. So I want to figure out a way to stay in touch with people just in case that ever happens, because I had a friend who lost it all, lost all his contacts. He had to get his friends' numbers and whatnot just to even get a hold of them. And he has a verified Facebook, verified. He paid for his check mark and everything, and he still got screwed over.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, so it's weird, but I do love with social media. I met a lot of people through it, and I survived off selling art for 20 years doing it. So I'm very grateful for it, and it's just I can't share the same things that I used to because it's not the same kind of platform. It doesn't reach as many people anymore. I got my boss following me now. I can't talk about the DMT elves, and it's out in the open these days. I do it in my group instead.
Right.
But even that, it's on Facebook still. It's a little iffy. But I don't know. I wish there was more alternatives for people like us who think a little differently and want to help the world. And
we'll make it.
We need to make it. I know there are all those different forums that people tried to start, to leave Facebook, and they just never make it.
Because unless you got an app and millions of dollars to pay for the server, you're pretty much up against, we're up against billionaires basically. We're up against billionaires. Elon and Zuckerberg. That's what we're up against. So it's pretty rough out there for people to get the word out. But
hopefully they'll go to Mars soon.
Oh.
Yeah, hopefully they'll go to Mars.
There are more of us than there are of them.
There's so many more of us than there are of them, and they're terrified of that. They are terrified of that. And so, my thing has always been the more people I can reconnect and get to remember who they are, the more powerful we are, and the more change we can make.
Exactly. That's all about remembering.
Yeah, it is.
And it sounds cliche and what a bunch of new age gurus tell you, but it's real though. The reason why they say that it is about remembering who you are and I like to separate the words too, to remembering. So it's like all of our different parts, all of our different timelines, all of our different dimensions that we exist across. I love
those
that.
are all the members of our soul family, of our soul pool. So we're remembering, we're pulling those parts home, and all of their wisdom and all of their knowledge and all of their experience, because we don't exist on this singular timeline. We are multidimensional beings having a multitude of experiences in 3D Earth, And, and as those timelines kind of converge and collapse, those parts come home and we can learn from them. So it's not just, kind of in the mind remembering, it is a physical remembering. We're calling our parts home to us. And the more parts we have home, the stronger we are, and the more powerful we are.
Oh my gosh, I need you to like write inspirational quotes, and so I can hang. I want to hang.
Can we just start our day with just tell us some words, and we start our day. For real though, you really are. You're great with words, and I look forward to reading your book as well.
Yes,
thanks.
And because I want to see what the plants say to me. I'm curious.
I know.
Yeah.
Because to be completely honest, like I have used psychedelic mushrooms before, and when I did use those around plants, I could truly, like it really dawned on me when I used it around a plant, like how sentient and alive they actually are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it really like I was like, whoa, holy shit! Like they really are like alive. That's when it really dawned on me when I was sitting next to a tree on mushrooms one day a long time ago, 10 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And that's when I could I don't know how to describe it. Like I'm kind of with that word trying to describe it right now, but it just felt so like it a different kind of alive, not like a human alive. Like they got two eyes and a mouth and a nose. It's like they got eyes on like every leaf, and they could sense you in like every part of their body and tree body. It's wild.
It's a powerful experience, and you can have that kind of experience without psychedelics.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You can.
That's what I want to get to.
It's like your everyday life can have that, as much as you're willing to open to it. Sometimes it's a little invasive. Sometimes it's like, okay, tone it down.
Yeah.
I'd be reckless about it. I'd say open the floodgates. Let's go.
If we lived in an area that had more like naturey areas around us, we would just be outside all day. Because like when I'm at my backyard, I'm just like I just love being out there and being in nature. But we don't really have a lot of like. It's not like Oregon where you walk in your backyard and there's like, black bear walking around, It's just like you look at your backyard, there's an apartment complex and a crackhead maybe down the street,
Yeah, that's a different kind of wildlife, right?
That's a different kind of different kind of fae out there, on missions out there.
I might be more willing to get approached by a black bear than a crackhead,
right.
But
It might be more friendly.
I have deer and turkey and coyotes in my yard, always.
Yeah.
How cool.
We get some lizards and that's it. Over here, we get lizards and birds.
One time I walked outside and there was a beautiful hawk sitting in a bush, and this was in the middle of a parking lot. And I was like, oh, this is a sign for something. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah. If we see an owl, sometimes we'll get like a screech owl. Oh my God, an owl! Like it's so rare to see.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. When in the cold of the winter here, that's when I hear the owls hooting at night, and it's so amazing to just hear it echo through the woods, and I absolutely love it. I used to talk to one
outside. There used to be one I used to like roost outside every certain part of the season. That would come every year, and I would just like sit outside my window, and be like woohoo, and hoot back at me, and my neighbors would call the police, and I'm scared.
No.
Hey, what are you doing, buddy? Talking to the plants, talking to owls, talking to everything.
Talking everything.
I'm connected, damn it.
I'm connected. You can be connected too.
I can be connected too.
Yeah, we will definitely have to take a trip to, I don't know, the wilderness that's just outside of the city and see what we can connect with, and that'll be fun.
Yeah. It would be. We write it down, get a notepad, and sketch some stuff that comes to us.
Do a meditation out there too.
That sounds great. So I do on Facebook have an EarthDeva Oracle group, and it is like there's nobody there. Don't be too excited. It just like it never took off. I wanted people to get the book and go through the process and then share their devas, and then we could talk about it. And I'm still hoping that at some point in life that will be a thing. So if y'all get the book and you start doing it, and you let me know, and you can join my group and you can show me your devas and we can talk about it.
Oh, 100%.
That would make me really happy.
We'd absolutely do that.
And that goes for anyone listening as well.
Yes.
Get the books. Let's join that group. Let's commune.
You heard her speak. You can tell she's awesome. Support her, or else.
Or else. Thank you.
No, you are awesome though. It's been really fun to talk to you. I've learned a lot.
Yes.
You're perfect for podcasting. You can just you're informative. You're inspirational.
Thank you.
You're a damn blessing.
Thank you.
I think it's been an amazing episode. I don't know about you.
For sure. No, we're gonna get a lot of listeners on this one.
Yeah.
Maria, if you want to tell everyone about your links or where they can find you, if they want to contact you or read your books.
Yeah, my books are on Amazon. That is the easiest place to get them. So they are called EarthDeva Oracle, and they should come up when you search on Amazon for the books. I have a website for my herbal practice and everything else. It's called kindredroot.com. So kindred.com. So that's the name of my herbal practice. But I kind of host everything there as well. And
awesome.
And then I have a YouTube channel, and that is kindredroot /EDO. So the EDO is EarthDeva Oracle, so it's both. And that's growing. I try and post there at least once a week, but usually when I'm inspired. And that's the most of it, I think.
Yeah, like I said, I'll have the links too. So if any of you guys missed what she said or are too lazy to listen, there's links will be there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you both.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you both so much for having me. This was so much fun. I was so nervous, and now it just felt really good. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to introduce this work and this way of life to the world, and hopefully more people will get excited about all of that.
Yes, and I'm just so grateful that you came and taught us all this cool stuff today, because honestly, I did not realize how much I was going to learn today, and now I feel pumped.
I know.
To explore things.
Seriously.
Nice.
Yeah.
That
for having an 8-month time in between episodes, having you be the first one for our return to the podcast has been really nice. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Fitch Files. If you'd like to hear more, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon Music. If you'd like to appear in the show, you can email us at thefitchfilesofficial@gmail.com.